afternoon and welcome to this session of Spirit of the Valley. I have got a returning guest slash friend who was here a while ago, a year or more ago.
A year, I think, or so.
This is Heidi Howry-Gill, who came on our show quite a while ago with all her wonderful accomplishments as an equestrian and teacher, coach, everything else you could think of. But we wanted her back because she's adding new features to her programs and new dimensions to what these young people and older people can do while regarding horse behaviors or horse. Anyway,
Right.
Welcome back. I've looked forward to
Thanks.
this for a long time, and it took us a while to make this happen, but it's
you.
happening. You have added, I know you, first of the first things right off the bat, the First Choice Riding Academy. And that's something that all kinds of people do. All ages, all sizes, all
yep.
genders, everything.
Yeah.
That's fabulous. And you're still doing that in Enfield?
Yep.
Everything you have is in Enfield, right?
Everything we do is in Enfield. I've been doing a little bit of traveling myself to teach in other places, but everything is home-based Enfield.
How often do you get called? I hadn't heard that part.
I
You get called to teach?
I get to go to
site.
different farms pretty much every weekend.
Really?
It's kind of funny because my barn is busy, and I feel like on Saturdays my assistant teaches the whole time, and I was thinking, I'm not working. I can't be productive. My barn is operating. I can't do it.
You're working.
So I found a new way to travel to different farms.
How far away do you go?
Right now it's within about a 2-hour radius.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
enough.
I don't know. I'm kind of looking forward to
Oh,
traveling.
she's thinking Europe. I know. She's thinking Europe and beyond.
I was thinking like, the Caribbean.
Oh.
Wouldn't that be awesome?
This time of year?
Yeah.
Oh, I think you pick them according to what time of
I
year
think
we're
we
in.
schedule it accordingly.
You can go to the cooler places in the summer.
Yep.
Oh my God.
That'll be a
Watch out,
luxury.
folks. If she's maybe coming to a barn near you, so keep your eye open. It'll be worth it if she did. But you also have the camps,
Yes.
which they start June,
They start the end of June. Yeah. Yep.
and that's all age.
That's we really try to keep it somewhere between like 7 and 13.
Yeah.
We do some 6-year-olds if they can handle a full day. It's
Right.
a full day, and
yeah.
it's going to be more full this
So
year.
physical.
So yeah.
More physical, more.
Well, we're going to be doing
Longer?
we're going to add on our fitness element to this.
She's
so.
got some new elements we'll get to. I was kind of doing a refresher for all of us on
Yep.
what she's already doing. And the camps go through August?
They go into the second week of August.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
And they're for, well, first of all, we'll put all your contact information up there because I think a lot of people out there are horse people without knowing it, or are and didn't know about you.
Right.
So I love that. But you've added, and wait a minute, I got to touch on something else. You have an amazing history of your own. You've done some pretty remarkable things on your horse.
On my horse.
You've
Well,
won things and
Oh, sure.
starred in things, and you've got a long history of medals. And
I never really think of it like that.
well, I do. I mean, you're a rock star in the
That's
horse
so crazy.
world.
No,
You don't think of yourself
not
that
yet.
way.
Not there yet.
But I can because I don't know
Thanks.
any other people that do what you do. But you've won a lot of things and done very well.
Well, you know what? I feel like I'm really good at bringing riders along and horses along into about the mid-level range.
Yeah.
And for that, yeah, it's really cool. I have a very solid history of success.
Yeah.
You know, but again, to the middle levels. I'm aspiring. We have things up I have things up my sleeve. I'm not there yet.
You
so
can tell by her face, can't you, that she's all, the wheels are turning
there's
24/7.
there's a special horse and special trainers. So
Super.
yeah, it's cool.
But I really don't want to diminish what you've accomplished.
Thanks.
You've got lots of medals
It's
and awards
consistent.
hanging on your wall.
Yeah, it's consistent. It's none of it's absolutely proven. So that's kind of cool.
Well, that's
really
good,
cool.
because I remember asking you about Lake Placid, and I don't think you've ever.
No,
you
and
hadn't
actually
done that
that's
one.
a little bit different than
Yeah.
what we do.
Oh,
but,
it is. So
yeah.
you don't do any of that.
I
stuff-
do, my passion lies in dressage,
Yeah.
which is it's really intense. And you know,
It is.
people, I was talking with one of my students yesterday who said to me, she's 12, and she's like, I found out I love dressage. And it's like, that's great. She goes, last year this time, I did it because you told me to. But and she was also jumping and stuff like
Yeah.
that, and she still does jump. And she said, but this year I'm so excited, I'm having a blast. And I said that dressage is exceptionally intellectual,
Yeah.
very private,
Yeah.
and it's very cool. And when people tell me that they find it boring, I just think what a shame they haven't really learned
taken
about it or
time.
felt. And maybe they've tried and stuff, but the more you have somebody who's passionate about it,
Yeah.
who can bring some of the really cool nuances to
Yep.
it, it'll help.
But it's more sophisticated, and isn't it more
You know, I think
technical and more? I can think of it as fancy as well. Am I
Yeah.
crazy on any of those fronts?
no. I think that I would only say technical because it's incredible what technicalities the other disciplines of horses have.
Right.
It's subtle. It's a lot of things. Yeah, it's fancy. It's classical. It's all cavalry based, and
Yeah.
so it goes back to, you know, like the whys and the hows.
Yes.
And, you know, very strong. Strong. Boy, the background in the history is huge. I always say our first textbook is still in print, and it was written in 460 BC, and people should still read it. And it's not inappropriate.
And
There's
so
some
not much
parts.
changing? I mean, there
Not
must-
not an intense amount changing.
Okay.
You can make relations too. You can learn from this textbook and
But you have to be really focused, don't you?
Yeah.
And intensity is a big part of what it takes.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, that's good. I mean, it's a very disciplined sport anyway.
It is
I
a very
think.
disciplined sport. Yeah,
I mean, you can't fool around and you can't
we do.
break the rules. She does. And you can't do shortcuts too many times, probably.
Yeah, no.
And be
The
safe.
shortcut is to do it the right way.
Yeah. Well, okay, so now, 2013,
Yeah.
you're looking at a bigger, broader way to make this do more for people.
Yeah.
The fitness piece you're thinking of as just generally the fitness, not just sitting on a horse and doing, I don't mean
Yeah,
to
no.
diminish it.
Selfishly,
Yeah.
I had a couple of tough goes last year.
Yep.
And selfishly, I'm basing some of my programs this year and trying to encourage people that I'm interacting with to really take a look at the fitness level.
Good.
I think that a rider, you know, in school, I was always trying to defend horses are a sport, and of course they are. But I think that more people need to treat it all around like it is a sport.
Yep.
And no matter what sport you do, there's an element of cross training.
Yes.
And so I was riding, you know, 4 and 5 horses a day. I definitely fit riding.
Yes.
But I came off a couple times last year and hurt myself because I didn't have the rest of the picture, you know?
Yep.
I didn't have all of the core support that I
Core
really
is
needed
Probably the most important feature
for
of fitness
everything. Yeah.
in horseback riding.
Yeah, it's huge.
But it's
And I felt like I didn't have some of the the stamina or whatever that you really need. And
Yeah.
so I started myself looking into how can I fix this.
Oh.
And you know, I mentioned my camp director last time we talked, and Joyce, and she's really passionate about how to be strong on a
yes,
horse.
Indeed.
And she just helped me start to develop a workout plan. And all of a sudden, not only was I feeling better on a horse and safer, but my horse was going better.
See?
Yeah.
I mean, the what she's done, and this is a mutual acquaintance of ours, she's doing a lot of personal training, and that's something the ideal world would have everyone doing, because it gets you the strength, the core, the balance, all these things that are
huge.
part of flexibility. All of those things matter in every sport.
Yep.
We just don't hear about those parts of it so much as the athleticism. But fitness is not just athleticism, it's everything.
Yeah, I think that it is everything.
I was in that world for years, and I couldn't get over what I learned about myself, much less people I was working with. It's just, so horseback riding, I think of the core probably more than in any sport I can think of.
Yeah.
You have to be right there with your core.
Yeah. Yeah. And if you're slightly, you know, you're going to give your horse funny cues, but you know, I'll bear some secrets. I looked at my horse, and he was developing a little unevenly over his top line. And, you know, I looked into myself, and we were developing
You were
together.
too.
Yep, yep. And so working on some of those things have really changed how he can develop.
I would think everyone could do well by getting just in shape for horseback riding. It isn't just horseback riding as itself, standalone. You really need to be ready to do what you have to do to be proficient.
Absolutely.
Or not even proficient, but good at it and comfortable with it.
Yep.
So she's doing a great thing, and I've seen some of her plans.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, she's going to have you moving. But I think thinking of it as fitness, and I think you're then rippling into the concept of equestrians as athletes.
Absolutely.
Because people do get a little weird about some sports, saying, that's not a sport, that's not an Olympic sport, that's not a sport, that's just playing. Well, I dare anyone to take horseback riding seriously without coming away saying,
Yeah.
wow, was I wrong?
Yeah.
So thinking of them as athletes, not just people sitting on a horse, obviously is huge.
Yeah. And yeah.
So if you're incorporating all of fitness, or that you can, into what you do as your passion and your livelihood, who isn't going to end up better?
I agree with you. And when you have that, you know, when you have that confidence about being physically strong and capable to be on a horse,
Right.
it helps you center yourself.
Exactly.
It helps you ground yourself.
It does.
And that carries everywhere.
And it also, I was going to say, it translates into every move you make all day, every day. Because I don't know, people forget that you're balanced. You're testing your balance every time you take a step.
Yep.
Because you're on one foot for a second.
Yep.
Or not less, not more. But I think when you look at this whole thing that you're doing, and Joyce is getting, the rider is going to end up a very fit human being, not just good on a horse. And
Right.
that's lifelong. That's something that goes even past the days when they can still ride.
Yep.
That's going to do everybody's. It's fabulous. And also I was reminded of a community outreach kind of thing that you're doing. Tell me
Okay.
about that.
I'm just
Or is
trying
that
to,
not
I'm not
ringing
sure
a bell?
exactly which one
She
you,
told me about that. That's why I asked you. But I thought it was getting more into the community or something. But I
well,
may have thrown a.
that
one
where
out
she
here.
may be going with that is that part of my mission statement is within my barn and within the four walls of my barn.
Yep.
But then the next part of the mission statement is to bring education outward and to the community about
that's
things
great.
that are important.
That's good.
But
That's what I think
yeah.
she was going at. But getting people more interested in what you personally do, but what horseback riding can do for.
It can do a
themselves.
lot for people.
I think there are people that ride. I had a student once, and we went down to the therapeutic riding during his summer term, and it was an unbelievable experience. I will never, ever forget the smile on his face when he was on a horse. Never.
Yep.
And that smile wasn't always present. And all of a sudden, this kiddo just beamed. Didn't want to go home, didn't want to stop. And you don't have to be good at it to feel the freedom they feel,
No.
where they have a little freedom sometimes.
And
So,
horses, they just are magical. They just do that.
yeah,
I see it in the barn every day. We don't do a therapeutic program, but we have a lot of therapy going on.
you bet.
Absolutely, and especially in the after-school hours, you know, you'll walk down the barn aisle and you'll see one girl with her head in the horse's shoulder, having had a bad day, or you'll see another girl just bouncing, just so excited she can't wait to hug her, the horse. Or there's just so many great things, and one thing that I think is so powerful about it is that it can bring somebody. A lot of people who are riders are sort of quiet, inside people, like introvert people that you know as a child, and it's not all, but the horse. They get confidence on the horse. They start to feel capable of something.
Yes.
And before you know it, this kid's speaking up for themselves
love
or
that.
doing things that are maybe really pushing her
Well,
ability
there's
or his ability.
There's a liberation feeling. I know it was true with the kids who were doing therapy. They were free up there. They weren't under all the constraints that they often are on their daily programs. But it's like water in a way. There's an equalizer there that everyone's kind of the same when they get on
Yeah.
a horse.
Yeah.
You don't have that star over here and where you're intimidated in other settings. Everyone's going to have to learn the same thing.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of, but I think the therapy part is fascinating because I can see how a horse, like any other pet sometimes, they'll talk to it where they won't talk to
Absolutely.
people at home.
Absolutely.
They'll lean on it. And people would say, well, what are you going to get back? Those kids get a lot back from an animal.
There's a lot. There's a lot of responsibility, but
Yeah.
a lot of joy, a lot of friendship.
Yeah. I think the confidence and I guess the old trait, self-esteem.
Yep.
There are many ways you can work on that. And when they feel like they've just conquered, they're sitting up there feeling like the king of the world. And they don't have to do something fancy to feel that way. They're just in a place they haven't been, and
Yep.
they're no one's holding on to them, and they're, ah.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to feel that would help anybody,
Yeah.
but introverts probably more.
Well,
than
and you know, I hate to say stereotype things, you know, like that, but yeah, I think that I
Well-
see a really cool thing when I see a girl come or a boy come who may be a little shy, who may be a little, may be struggling
Yep.
at some aspect socially
Yep.
or academically, and before we know it, the power that they get, and I mean, like, they just start to walk a little lighter, stand a little taller, you know.
Incredible.
We really work hard on developing a relationship with a horse.
That's important.
And yeah, it's just really cool.
It's this, the old, what's the phrase, bounce in his step.
Yeah.
I mean, it's something they've not only sort of conquered, that they might not have thought they could, because it's a whole different feeling being on a horse, but the fact that they've just done something that a lot of people haven't and might not even think they
Yeah.
could do. And all of a sudden, those are the ones that take off.
Yeah. And
Oh.
there's so many different levels of goals that we can have with
Yep.
horses, so many different ways to interact with horses and to have horses, that it really does, there's just something for everybody, and it does build, you can build on that.
Do you have, what's the age span? I imagine it's fairly young to fairly old. Is that fair to?
I
Or not even
have
close?
students, oh no, that's very close. I have students that we really try to encourage people to start when they're 8.
Yep.
I have started some 4-year-olds. My constant saying to people is, if I start somebody at 4 or 6 or 8 or even 10, by the time they're 12, they're generally in the same place. So if you need to be on a horse just to have oxygen, you know,
Yep.
if you can't stand the thought of living without a horse,
Yep.
absolutely come on down.
Yep.
But it's a little different from a lot of the other sports where the younger you start, the better it is.
Yeah.
I feel like age 10 or 12 is super age. 8 is a good age. Needs more parent help, you know, to just.
But if you had to pick one, it would be 10 or 12.
I'm
You've seen
thinking,
enough to know,
Yeah,
right?
I mean, really, I find the most progression is 10 or 12. I love starting the little kids though, and when
Yeah,
they're on
I
those
know,
horses, they're so cute.
That's right.
So,
But you also think of them when you say this, that
Right,
you don't
I
want
mean,
it to be a waste of,
this is, well,
not a waste.
the horses, there's a lot of expense to it.
Yeah.
And I always try to be reasonable about, you know, if you're going to use your expense, how can you make it the most?
Yeah.
And you know what? So when they're 6 and they're thinking they might want to ride, start putting away lessons as if you were starting to
Good,
teach,
good.
starting to let them do it, and then build a bank account, because, boy, that's one thing that
Yeah.
they can do so much if they have that. But
Well, it is, I mean, like a lot of sports, they're not all cheap, and that's not a bad thing. It's just the fact of life, that you've got very
Right.
expensive animals and upkeep.
Well, and you can't practice as much. With a soccer ball, you can go home and kick it around.
Exactly.
But with a horse, if you don't have that, you know, the average rides once a week, and that gives you room for progression.
course.
But sometimes it's more feasible to do every other week, and that starts to really inhibit what you can do. And other times, 2 or 3 times a week, and wow, what you can learn is incredible.
Do any of your students have horses?
Yeah.
And do
yeah.
they bring them to you and use those? Or do
Yeah,
they,
we
are
have
they just
both.
at home?
We take care of people's horses at our farm.
Wow.
And then I also have a number and a vast array of school horses that we
Yeah.
can teach on.
So they sometimes will keep their own horse at home and just practice.
Sometimes
as you
they
say,
do that,
at
yeah.
home?
A lot of times, I have a couple of students who keep their horse at home, and I have some students who bring their horse to the farm once a week for lessons.
Yep.
And then I have other students who board at the farm. It's, yeah, and the ones who can't bring their horses, I try to get a feel of what their horse is like, so we can maybe work on some of the same things.
Wow.
But
So this is a real parental involvement too, because driving a horse
there's a
trailer
lot.
is not going to be given to a very young person.
No. Yeah, it's very true. I
And
mean,
It's a valuable asset, and it's dangerous. I mean, driving a trailer, I'm assuming with a
sure.
horse in it makes you really keep your eye on the road.
you have to pay attention, but not any more than
No.
with other things.
Yeah.
But yeah, you have to pay attention and it's definitely a challenge for the parents, you know, to have,
But
if
they
they're
have
not
to-
horse lovers.
Right, and if they're not on board, it doesn't work anyway. I've seen
Right.
that in every other sport.
Right.
The parents unfortunately get a lot of the workload because they're always going to have to drive to events with
Sure.
the horse behind them.
Sure.
Do the kids show a lot? Do they?
We have a couple of different avenues that kids can go with this. We do some shows. First of all, nobody has to show. I find it an easy way to have a goal, and I'm very much goal oriented.
Yeah.
But I have a lot of students who just want to just ride.
Yeah.
They just want to come out and
fun.
recreationally ride.
Yep.
So they don't really show. Then we have the next level that they'd like to maybe try a show here or there, or financially it's better to do a lesser expensive show.
Yeah.
So we have a couple of shows at the farm a year.
Oh, that's good.
Yep, so we have what we call home shows, and we invite people from the outside to come into them. But so there's, I don't love competition within the barn, but that way the kids can at least get on, dress up, fancy up the horses,
Yeah.
and have a blast and go home with some ribbons.
Feel like the others that are doing it on a bigger scale
And have goals,
wider
yeah.
range. I think that's fun. I may have to come down there. You're going to have to let me know.
I was thinking you'll have to do that.
I was thinking I'd do that.
And
but
then we go all the way up to the very top where they're competing in, the regional competitions and all that stuff. So it depends on what they want to do.
Now tell me, without a name, who's your oldest student right now?
I
have a senior.
I have a couple of older students. My oldest student of all times was 84. And what a hot ticket she was.
Fun.
Yeah.
She'd have to be.
Yeah.
Should be a sport to do this.
Absolutely. And I have a couple of women who are in their 60s. I think I had a gentleman who was in his 70s.
How fun.
And I'll tell you, they're fun. It's
and they
fun
really want
do.
to do it at that level. It's kind of like going back to school. The adults are going to
Sure.
take it more seriously. Maybe.
Well, these people are. I have a couple of women who had done it all their life and were trainers and stuff, and now they just want to be on a horse for once a week and have a little workout on the horse and feel the feels and stuff. And then I've got a couple who are really aggressive and progressive, and I have to tell them, okay, slow down, hold on.
Even for you there.
We got to bring you back here because you're doing too much all at once, So yeah.
Oh, I love that attitude though,
Yeah.
because I love to see people in my age bracket who are still really feisty and moving a
Gung-ho.
lot, not just moving, but moving.
Yep.
Oh, that's so cool. So you'll take any age except the real young and not to
Yeah, the
preference.
little tiny ones are. It's just not really safe.
No. And that's just one less thing to worry about.
Mm-hmm. And if I can't believe in my heart that they're going to be really safe,
Yeah.
I really can't do it.
And it isn't difficult, or is difficult to tell them that.
Sometimes I have a little spiel that I do for the moms who have the 4-year-olds who say they can't possibly live without riding. So I do tell them a little spiel of, if you can imagine your 4-year-old gripping her little fingers around the hair because she's terrified because the horse did something a little naughty or something.
Yep.
I mean, I never let that situation happen.
No.
And the horses that we use with little ones, but it does have to, you do
Well,
have
it's
to look
it's
deep
your call,
inside. Yeah.
Because you can tell by listening to you that you care really about maybe safety first.
Oh, absolutely.
And as you should.
Yeah.
And as any coach, trainer should.
Yeah.
But I think it would be hard to tell them that, mainly parents who envision someone at major events.
A
down
lot
the
of
road.
people really want their children to be at the top, and I have a couple of students who have gone really all the way up to the top levels, and it's so exciting to
Of course
see.
it is.
But they don't have to do it. You don't have to do it by a certain age.
Yeah.
And so there's just no. And I almost feel like the kids lose interest a little bit if it came a little too easily to them.
And they don't need more pressure on them at that age. I mean, they have it in school. They have it.
Yep.
I mean, if kids can't be kids, and to me at a young age, horseback riding was strictly fun, recreational. Went out west once and galloped my little head off. But anything you do too young, they're going to either like it at first and then burn out at
Right.
the age you'd like them to start,
Right.
or just, I don't know. I think it's a big commitment to
Well,
it.
and it only makes common sense that we started off talking about how you have to be physically fit.
Yeah.
The other thing you have to have is body awareness.
Yes.
And it's hard to teach somebody to safely ride a horse when they're not quite sure how to get their leg in a certain position,
Exactly.
or they don't quite understand that actually that's important, and it's important now, and you're going to have to use a little muscle, and you may not have that developed yet.
That's right.
So I really feel like
Well, it's a realistic, fair, safe approach. And is it hard to get that across to most people? Do
I
anyone
think
sort of
most
balk a
people,
little?
most people are very understanding when I'm saying, as much as I'd love to teach, let's just hold off.
Yep.
And then as soon as they turn this age, come in or wait and just wait as long as you can.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. We have 6 and 7-year-olds running around the
course.
barn, walking around the barn all the time, running too.
Get that clear.
But it's
But no, I
reasonable.
think when they hear you say it, that and using safety as a reason is usually
Yeah.
a wake-up phrase.
I think so. I think they try to hear it. It's
Yeah.
hard when the daughter is saying, "I got to ride," but
And that
they're-
makes it hard when they get home, and
Yeah.
Mom has that going on every day. But I just think it's the right thing to do, and I think this is a sport that really, I mean, I fell off a horse, and it wasn't, what's the word, put together right. That's the,
the horse wasn't
whatever,
together, right?
it was I went off on a trail, and the group went this way, and I went this way, and the horse went that way,
Uh-huh.
and I was on the ground. And I found out later that it hadn't been,
Oh,
what's the word?
tacked up.
Tacked up.
Yeah, tacked up right. Oh, that's
yeah.
a terrible
There was
feeling.
something undone
Yeah,
underneath there. And I just thought, oh, I don't like horses anymore.
I wouldn't like them
I
with
just,
that
it was,
either.
really, I didn't. And I still haven't ridden again, but I haven't had an opportunity. I don't know if I'd choose it again, but I'd like to think I would, just
Yeah.
to get past that.
I think we would
But-
take you in.
You would, you heard it here, folks. I may be on a horse
I think we should do
for
it.
too long. But I think what you're doing, I love the direction you're going. I don't sound patronizing. I just, it sounds so smart that you're incorporating more of the fitness. Not that you haven't, but you're getting a
Yeah.
much more fitness as we know it in a gym setting or in a training session, because it's going to benefit everyone. They're going to be better students, and you're going to be happier with what they do, but they're going to end up really healthy.
Well, and I think that when we have to just impress that in order to walk through this earth, we have to have some capability.
Exactly.
And one of the things that the kids are going to be doing at summer camp is helping us. We're making a fitness circuit, and they'll be doing the circuit, and then each week of camp is going to add an element to the
Yeah.
circuit.
I've got the circuit on my kitchen table.
Do you?
I read it and I said,
Yeah.
that's awesome, because it would be awesome for me as a fairly fit person,
Yep.
because it was a lot of stuff.
There's a
But-
lot of stuff. It
but
has to
isn't
be
all at once,
doable, and it has to
isn't-
be
yeah.
reasonable.
And you work it all in gradually, but
Yeah.
I'm impressed, because I don't know if this is common or not, but it's so sensible, it would be hard to believe it isn't being thought of.
At the higher levels, it's common.
Okay.
At the higher levels, people understand that.
Yeah.
But at the introductory levels and stuff, I think it needs to be more broad and just more out there.
Well, if you get hurt because you weren't in shape,
Mm-hmm.
or anything else makes it unpleasant, you're not going back.
Right.
And you want people to love riding as much as you do.
Well, and I want to be able to look at anybody's parent or daughter or whatever and say, I thought it was a good idea, And if I know that somebody's not physically strong,
Yep.
and I can't really say I thought it was a good idea.
Right.
So
No, I think you're looking at the long term, which is neat, because they're going to not only be probably fit for life, because they'll love the feeling of it,
hopefully,
but you end up with probably a more enthusiastic student, and certainly one that can handle more things as you
right.
progress with them. So I think what you're doing is brilliant, and I'm all for people getting this health, wellness, fitness picture
I think we need it.
more comprehensive and more venues. So.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, it happened again, Ms. Heidi. We ran out of time.
That's just great.
You're awesome.
It's
You
fun.
have so much to say about this, and I just don't know a lot of equestrian, so it's fun to hear it.
I
The
know a
real
lot.
skinny.
I know a lot of them.
You know all the ones I will never meet. Yes. But thank you so much, because I think anytime people hear of this program, a program like this, and it's so comprehensive, and you're looking at every inch of them and
Well,
safety.
and it's so doable too. I mean, none of this stuff that we're going to do is anything that just everybody can't
Right,
do.
exactly.
So it's so doable if you're interested in horses.
Yep.
It's
And
just going to be a benefit.
So it doesn't add to any of the elite feeling. I mean, it's a general fitness program that you would find in any good program in a gym or
Exactly.
with a trainer.
And this is, I can't impress upon anybody enough that there's nothing that there's no judgment. There's
That's key.
The farm is really family oriented, friendly.
Yeah.
And we're all in this together, so let's head out there and have some fun.
And that judgment thing is always a deterrent to people when they
Yeah.
get the feeling that I
And
can't
when you
go in
think
there.
about, yeah,
I've learned not to do that, and I've learned that others are learning not to do that. Well, we're going to have Heidi's information up there. Why don't you just look right over there and tell us how to reach you if they had to or wanted to?
That's easy. I have a website. It's firstchoiceridingacademy.com. All one word, all spelled out.
Perfect.
I have an email at Heidi@firstchoiceridingacademy.com.
It's pretty simple. Well, that's good though, because you may want, I mean, anyone that's interested in doing this, it's probably the best place I've ever heard of that is all around
Thanks.
comprehensive for the kids. And if you have any questions, my email's always on the screen, and I would encourage you to check her out because it sounds super. And you're just making it better all the time. So, and any questions you have here or ideas for me, please use my email because I welcome every one of them. So Heidi, I thank you again.
Thank you.
What a treat. I'm so glad it took us forever, but it was worth it.
Next time we have to do it at the farm.
Oh, we'll do, great
right,
idea.
yeah.
Not with me on a horse, but who knows.
If you're tempted.
Yeah. So thank you all, folks, very much. And again, Heidi, again to you, because it's a fascinating world that I am still learning about, thanks to you. But thanks to you also, I am learning. So let's look into this if you want. But I'd at least go to her website because you'll learn a lot about these fun activities. So that's it. Our half an hour slipped away again. And thank you all for watching, and I will see you next time.